My name is Thomas O'Regan and I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Now, if you're looking to figure out how does borrowing capacity work, how does the bank assess my income, then I will tell you a few measurements that the bank uses today. Now, different banks use different measurements for assessing your borrowing capacity. So I just want to put it out there, one bank might assess your borrowing capacity and give you a result that is, say, $500,000, and you might go to another bank and they might assess your income, tell you it's $700,000 that you can use as borrowing capacity, and you might go to another bank and they might tell you it's 1,000, and you might think this is crazy, me telling you this, but it's 100% true. You just have to find a bank that is most suitable for your situation, that you're personally in, your personal income position. Now, the best way to get access to as many lenders as you possibly can is through a broker. Okay, so and the difference between going directly to a bank and working with a broker is you go directly to a bank, they've only got a very limited number of products. And then if you go to a broker, they have a very broad range of products. They might have 50 different lenders with however many products that each lender has, right? So you really open it up when you go to a broker instead of going directly to the bank. I would say the only difference is, and this isn't necessarily true, but typically the only difference is if you go directly with a bank, you can get the deal done faster. And that might be useful in a situation where the market's very hot and you need finance approved in a very short period of time. The broker might not be the best person to go to in that situation if it is a vanilla deal. And I would say that the times when the brokers really shine is when you're talking about investment brokers, and the investment brokers are able to structure or obtain finance for you if you're in a very complex lending position like me, where you have multiple properties. Okay, so that's that, and basically a few of the measurements that the banks like to use is what is your interest coverage? How much larger is the loan than your income? So banks typically don't like to see you getting a loan any larger than 5.5 times your total income. So that would mean if you have $100,000 of income, the banks typically won't lend you any more than $550,000, which is 5.5 times of the rent of the income that you make. Okay, so that's one of the things. You should measure when you are trying to assess what your borrowing capacity is. And I'll put a note to this. If you're looking to buy an investment property and not a principal place of residence that you're going to live in, that total income that you make, that's $100,000, you can actually add the rental income that you're going to get from the property you're going to buy, if it's an investment property, to your total income to increase your total income, therefore increasing your borrowing capacity. So that's kind of cool to know if you're looking to scale an investment property portfolio. So typically people that understand this, they focus on how much rental income the properties that they're going to buy are generating, because they understand that if they can find a property, a rental property that is generating a higher rental income, then that is going to help them purchase the second, the third, and the fourth property. Okay, so for example, my income at my job is $190,000, and then my rental income at the moment is about $250,000, and that has meant that I have built a far larger property portfolio than most people would have, because I've acquired properties in my portfolio that have increased my base income or increased my income, and how the banks view my income sources to give me more borrowing capacity than I otherwise would have. So that's a cool one. Basically, I'm going to wrap it up here. Hopefully that's been enough for you guys to just give you a few little tips and start figuring out how your borrowing capacity works. See you guys next time. Bye.